Get ready because I'm about to put you on one of the best sounding digital EQs to this day on the market, the SONTEC MES 432 by Metric Halo and Make Believe Studios. The SONTEC MES 432 is heralded in the analog world as the holy grail of EQs. It lives on so many people's master buses, mix buses. It's used in mastering houses. It's a marvel. It's a spectacle. A little bit of backstory on the EQ itself is it was created by Burgess Macneal, who is a co-creator of the parametric equalizer, actually invented the parametric equalizer with George Massenburg. Burgess Macneal has signed off on this EQ saying, this is a real SONTEC. He considers this a SONTEC. He puts his name on it. He has not put his name on any other plugin, and as far as I know, this is the only one that I'm aware of. Now, I'm not sponsored by Metric Halo or Make Believe Studios. No money has changed hands for any of this. The guys over at Make Believe Studios, Rick Carson, Ryan Harvey, and the dudes over there, they're really dear friends of mine, and they allowed me to have the privilege to be able to beta test this thing, and man, this thing was crazy. So the guys at Make Believe Studios teamed up with Burgess Macneal and the guys at Metric Halo and created this amazing plugin, and I think it says they use the state space model extraction process, and that is the way that they are able to get this EQ to basically be like a one-to-one on the analog hardware that they were using to model this after. It's a pretty big deal for the person who created the actual thing and who co-created the parametric equalizer to put his name on this. I think that speaks volumes. But yeah, I've been able to play with this thing for a long time. It's lived on a bunch of stuff. Anything that I would put an EQ on, it just sounds good. Imagine having a $12,000, $20,000, I don't know how much it is, the going rate. I'll probably pop one on the screen for one of these, but however $1,000 EQ, mastering EQ on whatever source you want. And I can't say enough good things about what Rick has done with Burgess and BJ, the guy who's, I think he's the lead coding engineer who codes most of the plugins at Metric Halo. The whole team, everybody who's had a hand in this, they did an incredible job. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how this sounds on a variety of sources like mix bus, cymbals, vocals, guitars, maybe a couple of other things, just so you can see what this really sounds like and why it's so special. Because whether you're cutting or whether you're boosting on this thing, it doesn't fall apart. It doesn't do the digital plugin thing to where the source just craps on itself. So without further ado, no more talking, let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, we are here in the project. This is a song of mine actually called Iniquity, and can't wait to release this thing. This is gonna be sick when it drops. So here we have the SONTEC on the mix bus. I got a nice little section for us to play it back on. And you're gonna hear how it sounds. I personally love it at this 19K setting, and you're gonna see why. I'm just gonna turn up the game. Plus 9 dB. That's unnecessary, but that doesn't sound bad. It actually just doesn't sound bad. That floors me every time. Now, I'm gonna park it at a place that I would probably put it at. Do some high shelf. That sounds freaking amazing. We'll do some stuff on the other bands. You can kind of hear what it does. I'm gonna mess around and then I'm gonna park it kind of at where I would keep this. Nah, dude. That's just insane. Like, you can have this on as many channels as you want. It's just stupid. Like, come on. I gotta hear that again. It's out right now. In. I don't want to hear a person talk about level matching. This sounds incredible. Like, you heard when we pushed it to its limits on the top end, it didn't get harsh and awful. So this is where I would probably park it. I realize I didn't really exaggerate the low end, but I'm going to kind of do that so you can hear the quality of it. Now, it is going to start crapping it out when I do this because it is going into a couple things. I have a clipper here, transient designer on the master bus. Yes, this is before I got spiff, and this is still incredible on the master. So we'll see if this starts to crap it out, but hopefully it doesn't. In some world, that's actually kind of appropriate for this song because this is a really, really grimy sounding song. It's something a little throatier here. Still, that doesn't sound bad. I just shifted where I had my lows, low mids, and my my upper mids, where I just kind of shifted where they sat at, and I pretty much shifted everything up a little bit, and it got throatier. And I mean, again, I probably wouldn't do this. This isn't really my taste, but this is an argument. You could make the argument that, you know, this mix could sound like this, and as you heard, as I was sweeping around, like, you can hear the characteristic of each one of these bands. That's what makes the Sontec really special, is the curves of these frequency bands. Now, you have to be transparent about this, but I do have this on the pure analog model. And there's a no analog model. I forgot what that does, but the aggressive analog model, I believe, is to where the converters that they used when doing this, which I believe is a metric halo converter. I think it's either a Leo or a ULN8 or something like that. I could be wrong, but whatever converters they used, I believe that that's what this aggressive analog model is that has part of that juice in there. So the aggressive analog model is pretty sick too. I'll turn this on and off here so you can kind of hear the difference. It's super subtle. There's like, it's like a little bit more crunch that's in there. Again, super subtle. That ain't gonna make or break anything. I usually kind of use this on everything because I like being heavy-handed and kind of leaning into it, and that's just kind of what this does for me. But for this, we'll just keep it on the pure analog model, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like to just boost this on guitars. Like, it's just gross. Now we have this on guitars. I'm going to do the same thing with the highs here. actually going to cut this. Right about here. Out. That should sound freaking awful on any other type of regular digital EQ, but it sounds incredible and it doesn't hurt your ears. And if you notice how musical that cut is right there in the upper mid-range where it has a going on, it's just so transparent. Like it just dips it out of the way. Something about this EQ just feels super organic, super natural. It's not trying to do something it can't do. The EQ is like, you got a source, I'm going to just merge myself with that source and become one with it. And that's just kind of what it does. And it doesn't really necessarily do it in a way that doesn't have any mojo or any vibe, because it just sounds like the box tone of this, man, that'll be too hard to kind of communicate on what's going on here through the YouTube algorithm and all this stuff, or the way the audio is going to get mangled. But I don't know how to really describe the box tone, but it definitely has a box tone. This thing softens transients in a really, really nice way. I feel like that and the curves and the way that you boost into it and all that stuff has something to do with why this kind of move on guitars just doesn't piss you off. Like this is a solid 4 dB at 8K at an 8K high shelf, and I can go more. We can go more. Crazy at the mid band. Add some growl. Like this is where the guitars ain't sounding too good. But even if I do a wide, it feels like you're using an analog EQ. This thing has so much headroom, it's nuts. Now let me do some low end on this. Put that with drums and bass. Out. In. Out. In. Crazy. Like, there's no reason why this should sound good on guitars like that. There's no reason. Doing sure, I've done EQ curves like this with other digital EQs, and it'll sound okay. And there's usually something that, you know, is a little bit more unpleasant about it. The only thing that was unpleasant that already existed there was kind of that kind of resonant tone. And I guess I just didn't care when I mixed it. It didn't bother me that much. But putting this under the microscope and adding how many dB of gain we just added to the top end here. What is this? 9? That's 9 dB of an 8K shelf on the guitars right now. That's 9 dB of an 8K shelf on the freaking guitars. And we have, it's kind of difficult to get a guitar to sound as smooth and as crisp and articulate and still well defined without being super, super harsh in the top end, boosting like this with other EQs. To me, boosting top end on a high gain guitar in the digital domain just is like, I'm almost like, is it going to work? Is it going to work? Is it going to work with this? It's going to work every single time. It's always going to sound good. At least every time I've done it, it's freaking sounding good. What I will show now is the lead vocal. I think what will be the best to showcase this, the spot to do that would be here in the chorus. Alright, as always, go for the high. Maybe if I was mixing Ariana Grande. But those who know what Serban does with the metric halo channel strip EQ at 10K know what I'm talking about. I mean, that sounds not bad. Too much for this song, maybe I would do this. The reason why I chose the chorus here is because I wanted the chorus vocals to feel more engulfed here. And what I'm doing here kind of makes the mid mono vocal kind of poke out a little bit more, like how I would want the verse to, but I didn't want it to sound like that in the chorus for this song. However, this does an incredible job of just taking the vocal and pulling it out. And sure, I'm boosting in the regions to where, you know, you would naturally have that in the vocal here and here. But the way that the Sontec 432 is doing that is just, it's so musical. It doesn't hurt. This, you got to be careful sometimes. If you boost a vocal here, it could sound really bad. You boost a vocal here, it could sound really bad. And even when I went crazy, it didn't sound bad. It just didn't sound right for the song. This doesn't sound right for the song, but I could understand an argument for this. I don't know, man. It's just incredible. It really is an incredible, it's an incredible plugin that just sounds good on everything you put it on. It's like MSG. This plugin really is like MSG. Now, last but not least, I'm going to show it on overheads. Start on the high gain. This is just overheads, not drums. All the way. You know, add the shelf too. All right, maybe that's a little terrible, but that's not. Out. In. It's so natural. Add a little bit of chaw. I really do think this is one of the best EQs on the market, if not the best one. Like, I mean, you heard it yourself. There's not many things on the market that sound as good as this. Again, I'm not getting paid. I'm not sponsored for it. Yes, these guys are my friends and I love and support them. But this, even if I didn't know who they were, this is incredible. Let me know what you think. Doesn't matter really what I think, because what I think is just what I think. But what do you think? You think it's cool? Does it sound like booty? Did you see me do those high-end, those top-end boosts and think, gosh, this guy is insane? Maybe you did. And if you did, let me know down below. Please like the video. I'm trying to be a little bit more consistent here, so if you saw this and you're like, oh, he finally posted a new video, it'd be really helpful for sure. Most of you guys are not subscribed, so please subscribe. I'm trying to get to that, monetization stage, so your boy can make a little something. But if you made it this far, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys, and I had a lot of fun showcasing this, and I hope you had fun watching it and enjoyed what I had to say. So peace out, and thanks